How did that? Hunter slept on it, and my copy of Spider-Man never arrived, so I had to buy a digital copy. So it's like we all had very mixed reactions to this day. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
It's a big day. It's a big boy day. We're here. Super Mario has shown
finally
up.
Here.
And Spider-Man has also shown up, and it's catastrophe. The world's gone to shit, guys. It's over. I don't like it. It feels weird, right? Because we've been building up to this day for what feels like months and months and months, and then they came out, and I was like, cool. Like it was just like, cool. I can't.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what always happens. It's like it's the roller coaster, dude. It's the roller coaster. We're just going up that lift hill, and then it's like as soon as we get there, launch day, it's just stalls. You're like, yeah, I'll go down the ride sooner or later.
I set my game to install, and then I slept until 11:30 last night.
Really? That sounds about
Yeah.
right. Well,
I
did
got
the
home
same.
from work yesterday, and I'm like, I don't even know if I feel like playing video games today. Spider-Man just sounds like too much right now, so I downloaded Mario, and I played that.
Yeah, so Cal did that, Hunter slept on it, and my copy of Spider-Man never arrived, so I had to buy a digital copy. So it's like we all had very mixed reactions to this day. My Mario showed up at like 3 p.m. and I was like, I guess I'll play some Mario now while I wait for 90 gigs of Spider-Man to download, because this is what we have to deal with in the year 2023.
19 gigabytes of Spider-Man.
No, just it's so... It's ridiculous, but hey, we're here. We have played between us all. We have played either Mario or Spider-Man or both. So we've got plenty of opinions to go around. This episode is entirely dedicated to those two video games. So stick around. If you're only here for one, timestamps below. If you're here for both of them, then buckle up, because I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation. Because it's been a long time coming for both of these games. Spider-Man 2, as we've been talking about on this podcast for 2 years. It's been over 2 years since that was announced. And we haven't had a 2D Mario game since...
In this podcast life cycle, I don't think.
We haven't had it, yeah. And I mean, we haven't had a good 2D Mario game since, like, what, the SNES? Like...
Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't had a good 2D Mario game since before I was born.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Super Mario Bros. Wii was good.
No,
Okay.
It wasn't.
Yes, it
right,
was.
We'll get
Yes,
it.
it was.
It wasn't. This is Wii propaganda.
It was
and I
fun
hate to
with
see it.
friends.
I'm gonna turn Hunter down a slight bit because his mic's louder than it usually is, so we're just gonna turn him down. But if you're new here, this is the HGO podcast. We're here every Monday, 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern, on podcast services everywhere, and youtube.com/rockgamers yeah, we've got plenty of reviews still coming out. Obviously, Spider-Man and Mario Wonder will both have reviews coming out at some point in the future, so look out for those. Hunter is going to have Alan Wake 2 on his docket in just a short little while, about a week's time, so that's great.
Yep.
And then as we get further into November, we have Mario RPG coming out, we have Persona 5 Tactica, we've got a lot of stuff. Those Metal Gear ports are coming out. I can't wait to see how those shape up, if they're actually any good. That'll be fun. We'll see what the controversies around that is. Because you think PS1 and PS2 games would be hard to fuck up, but I also see Konami, and I'm like, I feel like it's a 50-50 at this point. They could be terrible still, especially on the Switch. God help that Switch version. Like, honestly, that seems like a disaster waiting to happen. But yeah, we'll talk about all sorts of stuff coming up in the next couple of months. And then obviously we've got the backlog stuff, so keep up for that. I've got to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor before Game Awards season rolls around, because I feel like it's the one game I missed, so I've got to pick that up. We've got so much stuff. It's only a month. It's like a month till the Game Awards, and I'm like, oh God, like we're already at the end of this year. I feel old. Like the more we do this show, I feel older.
I feel like this year aged me like 7 lifetimes.
Genuinely, man, it's crazy. But hey, it's been fun, and we're gonna keep going. The train doesn't stop, Hunter. We're just moving on to the next thing.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. We gotta start hyping up Final Fantasy and Persona again soon. So gotta keep that train rolling. But yeah, and then obviously we've got reviews for other stuff that's come out this month. Assassin's Creed What else have we done? Hunter, you did
Starfield.
Starfield,
Axolotl.
Axolotl. We've got plenty of stuff on the YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. Thank you for the support, as always. I actually haven't checked how all the other stuff is doing, but thank you for the support. I saw that the Assassin's Creed one picked up traction, and then I was completely terrified to ever look at it ever again because, Assassin's Creed fans, they scare me.
That's my
They do
streamer.
scare me.
It's got no comments at the moment.
Oh, thank God. That's fine.
Yeah.
As long
Yeah.
as, thank God.
Yeah. More views and less comments than these people with their chronic Bethesda opinions.
Oh, dude, I love that. That's great. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, let's get this over with. Are
I
we
said
starting with
chronic
Spider-Man?
Bethesda opinions.
Or are we starting with Super fucking Mario? Which one are we starting with?
Well, I put Spider-Man on there first.
Well, we'll start with Spider-Man then. You're the backseat driver.
I figured you'd be more excited to talk about that. I mean, it's your show,
Oh.
though. You can do whatever you want.
It's not your show. It's not my show. It's our show, dude. Don't be a dick about it. It's our show, dude. I just sit here and point at things. I just look at the timestamps that usually you or Hunter wrote and go, "That's what we're doing." There we go. But let's talk about Spider-Man. So me and Hunter have played Spider-Man. Kyle decided to play Mario instead. That's like the rogue card. That is like we didn't have that one on our bingo board. Like that was a rogue pick. So
I mean, so here's the thing.
He decided he couldn't find the copy of the first game, and then he's like, "Well, screw you then. I don't want to play Spider-Man 2."
To be fair, they do have a recap at the start of this game, and it's really cheesily written, and it's not good. And I'm like, you know what? I don't blame Kyle, because if he got that recap of the first game, I wouldn't want to play
better than the one they
Spider-Man
did
2.
for Horizon, at least. It was in character.
I mean, I'm sure it
appreciated
doesn't take a scholar to figure out the story of Spider-Man.
No, not really. Not
But
really.
no,
He was bit by a spider, now he goes zip thwip.
yeah.
Wahoo.
Wahoo, it's a me, Spider-Man.
That's true. Ben Starr replacing Yuri Lowenthal. That's a weird pick, I gotta say.
But no, I played Miles Morales a couple years back on this show, and that's my exposure to the any Spider-Man game, actually.
Which is crazy.
I mean, I've never really had an attachment to Spider-Man, so I just picked up Miles because it looked interesting, and I liked Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Spider-Verse was the kind of gateway drug in there. It was the gateway drug. But yeah, no. So me and Hunter played. Hunter, how many hours have you played of Spider-Man?
I'd say probably like 6 or 7.
Okay, I'm around the same. I think I'm like about 8 hours into this game. I had to divvy up my time, so I've got like about 5 in Wonder and about 7 or 8 in this. So I don't know. Do you want to start, Hunter? What are you feeling about this game, right? What are you feeling about this game? Because I think it's interesting, because I think the first hour of this game is brilliant, and I don't want to spoil it, but like it is just Insomniac being Insomniac and flexing all their muscles, and there's literally a moment where one of the Spider-Men gets thrown across the map and everything's just streaming perfectly and nothing's but like they're just doing them.
Oh yeah,
if you've
that
ever
part.
seen God
I
of
was
War,
like, oh man, he threw him forever.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the scene of God of War where Baldur at the first boss fight literally just throws Kratos over a house, imagine that. But someone, I don't want to say who, throws one of the Spider-Men literally halfway across New York, and he just literally no rendering issues. He just flies back and then straight back into it. And I'm like, you fucking I'm like, wizards. Like, it's witchcraft. They do it multiple times. And I'm just like, you fucking wizards. And you can tell that it's the, you haven't got to it yet, Hunter, but there's another bit later on where you can see some of the Rift Apart tech that they made, nice. And it's even better where there's no even load screens between it. It's just zipping between, and I'm like, you fucking wizards, like absolute wizards. Whereas like every other game, I feel like exclusive wise, even Astro, I love Astro, but it's like it doesn't feel like it's necessarily using all the SSD and tech. God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West do feel like PS4 games at their heart, and this game I'm just like, fucking hell, wizards, like absolute crazy shit. But that first hour is really good. And then after that, the next couple kind of felt really slow, and it felt like it was treading water, and it's picked up again now. So it's weird, because I know where you are.
It's one of those things where I feel like if the pace of the game slowed down for me, part of it could just be self-inflicted because not only could I just be piddling around with the side content, but also very often I'll just piddle around, not even in the direction of side content until it like falls in front of my feet.
It's the
So,
Spider-Man syndrome, isn't it? And
yeah, yeah,
I think the difference is it's like the original Spider-Man. So Spider-Man 1 had you basically Fisk Tower was under attack and you had to go and stop Kingpin. And it was a great little setup. This one is very similar. Another villain is out and about, and you and Peter and Miles are doing their Spider-Man thing to try and stop him. It was shown in the final trailer. I'm really treading water because it's like it's a really cool moment and it got spoiled for me. And I'm like, I wish it hadn't got spoiled, but I feel like, do you feel like Hunter? Do you feel like everybody knows at this point?
I don't know. I managed to not watch the final trailer, so it was a genuine surprise when I got to it.
Yeah, it's. Do you know it, Kyle? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen anything about this game.
Oh, use Kyle is Kyle is like the person who watches like Kyle's a normal person, right? So it's like if Kyle doesn't know, then I won't say it because like that's a good gauge. Kyle, you're a good gauge for like the general public on this
This
game.
is the nicest thing he's ever said to me.
What, you're a normal person?
I'm a good gauge.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, best buddy.
You're welcome. So I won't spoil it, but it's like it's a big. It feels like a massive set piece, and it's huge. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then the game just kind of. It feels like the stakes are high, and the stakes continue to be high because it goes really quickly. It's like Craven then shows up, and it's like they start
Yeah.
building that super quickly, and then they just kind of go and pause. And I'm like, this feels weird because the original game kind of had a lot of more of a slow burn where it's like, oh, you do the Kingpin thing, then you're just swinging around. You know, you meet Doc Ock, yeah, you meet Otto Octavius, you meet another couple of characters, you're just swinging around doing friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. Whereas this game goes, massive attack on the city, someone's coming to hunt everybody down, and pause, here's Harry Osborn. I'm like, cool. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Because the first game was a bit of a slow burn, but I also feel like perhaps as a result of that, it led to the weird pacing of the final act.
oh yeah.
So,
Which is weird because this game is, again, it has very bizarre pacing to it, but I don't hate it because again it's picked up, but it's like I'm 12 missions into the 31 mission thing that I've looked on at the thing on the main menu, right? And you know, the system's saying that I'm like a third of the way through the game. The PlayStation menu on the home screen says I'm 45% of the way through the game. There's other things saying that I'm all like I don't know how 12
can't
out of
trust anyone.
31 is 45% of the game, but you know, you do you guys, you do you. And it's like, you haven't had any like Venom stuff happen, Hunter.
Not yet.
And it's like, I've only just started having the sprinkling of the Venom stuff. Like, even like, there's been a couple of like little things where I'm like, okay, it's starting to creep up, and it's doing that thing again where my main issue with the original Spider-Man was it had this creep of really slow pace, and then Mr. Negative came up. I'm like, okay, this is a really interesting story with Martin Lee. I like this quite a bit. And then the end of the game is just like cram, 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 cram credits, and I'm like, it feels like that ended. It's just like you know, there's the boss fights where you're fighting two Sinister Six members at the same time because they don't have any time in the game left to have them all individually. So you're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're fighting Vulture and who was it?
Electro, I believe.
Electro, yeah, just at the same
Yeah.
time. Why not? And this game kind of feels slightly similar, where it's like it's got these huge set pieces, and I'm really loving it. But I'm also like, again, I'm like, it feels like a comic book, and then it's like, here's this character and here's this character. And the one thing I love about the Insomniac Spider-Man universe is they have this cast of characters now that we know and we love. So if they show up for a tiny amount of time or a huge amount of time, you're like, oh, that's really cool. I'm happy to see it. People are just living in this world, right? From both
Yeah.
Miles's perspective and from Peter's. It's like, that's cool. I really like it. But it also feels like there's 6 million things happening at the same time, and it's really hard to keep track of. And I'm like, it's kind of crazy because it's like,
I feel like it's almost like being given access to, like, imagine a Spider-Man cartoon, but all of the plot threads that would be divvied up into episodes are kind of being thrown at you at once.
yeah. And I think having having the separation and the lack thereof of separation between Peter and Miles also doesn't help. Where it's like, in this game, you have missions that only Peter does, and you have missions that only Miles does, and you have side missions that only Peter can do and Miles can do, and collectibles that only Peter can do and Miles can do. But then you also have a load of stuff that's just generic and goes for everybody because they can't guarantee which character you're playing at a certain time. So you'll just have... And one of the things that I'm kind of missing about this game, and one, I do think this game is fantastic. It's very good. We'll talk about all the positives later. There's loads of them. I think this is way better than Spider-Man 1 in terms of gameplay and everything else going for it. But it's like, you kind of had that kind of... You had that kind of attachment to it where it's like Yuri's always talking to you and you have these conversations when MJ's phoning you or somebody else. They're all coming to Pete. And now it's just like when you get random phone calls, it's just, hey, Spider-Man, because you could be playing as any of them. Or MJ's calling you and isn't really... There's no real back and forth. It's just all kind of generic because they don't know if Miles is on the comm or if Peter's on the comm.
I got called by Mary Jane as Miles for a part pretty early on, actually, and I was like, well, this seems kind of weird. Not gonna lie.
It's also related to that thing, that villain that we can't talk about, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is perplexing.
But MJ's like, this is happening, and this is...
I feel like I should have switched.
And I'm like, yeah, this feels weird. Like, it feels really weird.
How does the game handle the two characters? Can you like switch between them whenever, or does
in the free roam you can switch between them whenever you want? You can just you open the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app, you press the square button, you swap over. Yeah. It's really basic in that regard. And there's like no real
4 seconds.
Yeah, there's no real difference as well. Like everything, it's very much got the Rift Apart kind of mindset where it's like, you know, in Rift Apart, anything you unlock for Ratchet is unlocked for Rivet, and it's same with Miles and Peter. It's like if you've upgraded this, you like they've got their own separate skill trees.
Apparently have their own separate skill trees, but I haven't upgraded either of their individual ones yet. I've just been going for the shared one so far.
No, and they also still have the issue with this game where Miles is still unbelievably overpowered in comparison to Peter, where it's like Miles just feels better to play. And it's funny because it almost feels like, at least from the story that I've been playing so far, it feels like Peter is the center of this story and Miles is kind of this heart kind of balance. And I'm sure neither of us has got to the Venom stuff. I'm sure when the Peter Parker emo phase kicks in the second half of this game, Miles will take more of a center stage. But the first half of this game is so explicitly tied to Peter and MJ and Harry in particular. And Miles has these moments, but not many. And it's always weird to me because I'm like, I don't know how much you've messed with the spider arms. Basically, instead of having Miles has his Venom powers like in Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Peter has his Doc Ock arms, basically the arms that he's created.
Yeah, the Iron Spider.
The Iron Spider arms, and they're shit in comparison. Like it's just like they're not great.
I feel originally I was worried that. Because before from the trailers I wasn't really able to glean that much about how the gameplay would handle the situation there. So I was worried that was going to be way more integrated into his regular moveset than just special moves. No. So I'm happy that it's just special moves because I would be way more annoyed if it's
also thrown me through a loop because I thought the whole way the story was going to go was Peter gets the Venom suit pretty early on. The Venom abilities are Peter's equivalent to the electric abilities, and then when he loses the symbiote, that's when he'll make the Doc Ock arms as a replacement for the symbiote.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Busted out,
but he just busted them out of the first mission.
I was like,
okay,
really?
Because they talk about experimental tech, and I'm like, oh, it must be the web wings. They're gonna give you the web wings super early on,
and
then
he busts out the
Iron Spider arms. Like, okay.
I'm like, well, so much for the cool little... Because I think it would have made for a cool moment even if they were kind of meh gameplay-wise, if he would have, like, you know, found a way to become as strong as he was with the symbiote, with something that he concocted with his own head. Yeah.
Because Miles has his blue electric powers like he does in the comics. We don't know what's causing it, but basically Miles has two sets of powers. He has his regular electric powers and his blue electric powers, and as you're going through the game he's unlocking more of these blue abilities from the looks of it. So maybe it's going to be the same way where you get the Venom powers.
The first one they give you is pretty rad too, the chain lightning.
The chain lightning's pretty cool. So maybe the Venom powers will be the same way. Maybe there'll be something after it that replaces. I have no clue where. I have no clue where the story's going, and it's brilliant. And I really love these characters so
Yeah.
much. But it does kind of feel like it has that kind of sequelitis to it, where it's kind of like, okay, we had like two main villains in Spider-Man 1, right? We had Doc Ock and we had Martin Lee. There were some other villains that were in the game, but they were very much pushed to the side. They were secondary villains. They didn't really
Yeah.
pose that much of a threat. In this game, it's like you've got Craven, and I've not even discussed about Venom yet, but it's like you have these characters that they're chucking in, but say they're chucking in, for example, Martin Lee as a secondary character in this time, but it's like he was so integral to the first game that no matter if you shove him in the side, he still feels like a major person in it because we already have that attachment. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you've got that. You've obviously got Scorpion was in it as a secondary, or is in it, should I say, as a secondary character. You've got so many characters showing up that it's like, oh, this is kind of very overwhelming. I don't know what's really happening with the story right now. It's good and I'm loving it. And there are certain moments in this game where I'm like, damn, wizards. There's one of my favorite characters comes into the fold. Not for a long period of time, but it's like one mission and it's a very good mission, and it also involves that thing that I mentioned earlier with the Rift Apart tech, and it's like
Ooh.
it's a culmination of a set piece where I'm like, that's my favorite set piece in any of these three games. Like, period. It is brilliant, and it's not a huge towering boss or anything major like that. It's just really cool, and it's a really good kind of comic booky kind of situation where I'm like, I really liked that,
Interesting.
and it's a really good use of a character. And I don't care that they were only in one mission of the video game because it was such a really good use of it that I'm like, yeah, go for
I
it.
hope they bring Shocker back so we can chase him down as Black Suit Peter.
Hmm.
It's
Just like in the animated show.
I need that little brain tickle to happen.
But there
I
are
don't
some
care
really
that we
good,
already chased him down the street in the first game.
yeah. But there are some really good uses, and I think that's what's kind of thrown me off at the moment is there's not been that much side content. There's been like the Brooklyn Visions Academy stuff that I've had with Miles, and there's
I
been a
just did
couple
that
of
earlier.
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app things, and there's like these fire cultists that I've started a quest with that have moved on, right?
I think I
So,
might have just got the trigger to actually do the quest for that. Because, like, I don't know, some fireman just hit me up
which is
and was like,
interesting. I'd highly recommend it. Seems like
I
a
was
very
like, and
important
was
one
like,
to do.
yo, come over here. We need some help. And I'm like, maybe. And then, yeah, now just talking about it, I'm like, maybe this has to do with these fire weirdos that I keep finding at the crime scenes.
And it's weird because then I do that side quest thinking, okay, it's about these fire cultists or whatever. And then that also includes a very important character. And I'm like, oh, that's sick.
Human
I expected this
Torch.
character in the main story though. And it's like, this is weird. Like my brain is just frazzled. And I'm sure once it's all laid out, I'm sure it's going to be great. Because there is some really good story stuff here. It just feels like it's very much going at a very weird pace where sometimes it's going really rapid, beat to beat to beat, and then sometimes it's like kind of dragging itself over a little bit, like the Harry Osborn stuff, which is cool. I like it. I like Harry quite a bit as
Yeah.
a character. I think he's really interesting. But it's also like, can we get to the good stuff? Like, I thought that we would have had the symbiote in the first half, like third of the game. Like, and now I'm like, this is a second half thing? This feels weird. They've done that thing again, Hunter, where they did the 3 gameplay demo, and that was like, we were expecting that to be like the halfway point, the raft scene. We all thought that
Yeah,
the raft
yeah.
scene would be the
And that
halfway
was
point,
like that
and it
was
was
like
two
the
thirds. Yeah.
yeah, that was like the
Yeah.
transition from Act 2 to 3 essentially.
And I think they've done the same thing again, where I think you don't get the symbiote until like halfway into the game, and I'm like, oh,
Oh.
interesting. Anyway, let's talk about what is great. I think the performances are great. Shall we
Oh,
talk
for
about
sure.
Shall we talk about the new character designs?
Oh yeah, let's go for it.
I didn't mind Peter's redesign in the remastered Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and when they redid it, I was perfectly fine with it. I thought people were being babies about it. Coming into this game, I don't know what it is, but I hate all of them except for Miles and Rio. Miles and Rio are the only two characters where I'm like, Ah, yes, just as I remember, if not better. Everybody else just
Yeah, I think
looks
Miles looks pretty
fucking
good.
wrong.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Mary Jane doesn't really bother me that much, but
She doesn't bother me, but there's something about her hair and the way her facial animations are where I'm like, it's almost giving me
I think the
uncanny
only thing that's
valley.
throwing me off is that it looks like she has way more hair than was actually tied back in the first game.
It kind of looks a bit wiggish, doesn't it? Like it kind of
Yeah,
does look like a bit of a wig.
which is
Peter,
weird.
Peter's. I still think Yuri Lowenthal is incredible as Spider-Man. I love him as Spider-Man. He's great. I didn't hate his face in Miles Morales, and I didn't hate it in the remaster of Spider-Man. I thought they were fine. In this game, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's his hair, or I don't know if it's the way that his face is being animated in this one. But every time I see certain scenes with him, I'm like some scenes I'm like, that looks great. It looks good. And then there's complete opposite ones where I'm like, this doesn't feel right. It's very
Genuinely, I
weird.
would blame the haircut because, like, the one flashback scene, I think he looked way better, and I don't really think, and like, I don't imagine they did that much different to his face, you know?
I don't. Yeah, there's something about him where I'm like, he does look weird this time, and so does everybody. I don't know if it's the hair. You know, they did the hair tech for Rift Apart, and you're like, oh, the
Yeah.
fluffy hair tech, it's super cool. And then we now get to Spider-Man 2, and it's like everybody looks weird because of it. But you know, it's like Peter looks kind of weird. Harry, I think, looks all right, but his hair also looks a bit like weird. I think people just have weird hair in this game.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn, he looks different, and I don't know why. It's like J. Jonah Jameson also. I don't know if it is this new engine that they're using, the new tech, but they all just kind
So
of
the thing
look.
about Norman is that he looks kind of weird, but for whatever reason, I feel like that's working for me because, like,
He looks
he's supposed
creepier.
to be sinister.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
He
works.
looks like he had a terrible time in the original Spider-Man, which he did, and he's just like he looks like he's fucked up from it. He looks like he's aged a couple of years from the experience.
It looks like they tried to like revive Willem Dafoe Norman, but he came back wrong.
He does look, yeah, he does look weird. There's one scene with J. Jonah Jameson, and I'm like, that looks very weird. And I was like, if it was from Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2, I'd be like, oh, cool, they just changed his character model. But we saw him in Miles Morales in the intro as a character model, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm like, why does he look completely? He looks very, he looks very weird. Looks very weird. Um, but no, I think the performances are fantastic though. Like the actual,
For
yeah,
sure.
when you ignore the weird faces and the uncanny valley at times, the performances are great. There's some of the best voice acting that I've heard in a long time in this video game, which is great because um, I assume this game's going into darker places than the original. Um,
Yeah, you would
there is one
expect.
moment, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there was one moment where I'm like, oh, this is like, I'm like, oh, this is going darker, and I'm like, you won't have got to it yet, but I'm like, oh no,
Mm.
this is like, we always were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the dark one, with the dark with the the black suit and everything, but I'm like, no, the thing I think ignores the symbiote. I think the thing that makes this the dark one is Craven, because I didn't realize that. I'm like, I didn't think I was just expecting Craven to just be, hey, look, it's me with leopard print. I'm gonna run around with knives and just like stroll around, you know.
I
I didn't
mean,
actually. I
Craven's
never.
pretty messed up conceptually, you
Yeah, well,
know?
no, I didn't think that. I was like, oh, Craven hunting people. I was just like, oh yeah, that'll be fine. We'll just have a nice little time until the symbiote shows up. I just thought he'd be hunting Venom or something, but it's like, oh no, it feels like there are stakes in this game. But again, speaking of it, that's why this kind of back and forth where I'm feeling confused about the game is in the original Spider-Man, you never like you never really had a moment where something dark or something weird happens, and then the game's just like, anyway, gotta do some just do some quirky thing real quick. Whereas this game has like, oh, this is a dark moment, and then people just like shrug it off instantly. I'm like, it's a bit weird. Oh well, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Um, the combat and the web swinging though, my god, fucking incredible. The web wings, love it.
It's a nice extra element to this reversal now,
Yeah.
for sure. Like even with like the wind tunnels and the little air drafts, I wasn't really expecting that. I was just
They're
figure
very
out.
video gamey, but in like the best way, where it's like I don't care that this doesn't really make sense. They're very fun to do, and it's incredibly satisfying. They've also added so many elements to the web swinging where I'm like, damn, this feels good. You can now like you can corner cut on buildings, Kyle. So you can
Oh
like
yeah, that's a
swing on
nice
a
one.
so if you're swinging past a building, you need to make a hard right, you can just hold the circle button and they'll do an actual like hard cut now instead of you having to faff around and trying to get the angle right, which is really cool. You can do
Nice.
something my favorite things that I love to do are everything to do with launching and building up momentum. So, there's if you hold L2 and X while you're on the ground, you'll do like a pullback, and then you can launch yourself forward at massive speeds just to boost yourself at the start, which is really fun.
That's a great
One,
addition because I remember just even when they because I don't remember being able to do this in 2018. Just Miles's little hop skippity where he jumps up real high,
yeah,
it leads you off into swinging. I don't remember being able to do that in 2018, and I was
you
really
could, but it
pleased
was
when they
on the
added
upgrade
that.
tree.
Oh, but I was real pleased when they added it in Miles because I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, so this
I
time
was
you
gonna
have
That's
to
say, I
nice.
like
thought that was just a thing you could do in Miles.
you can do
Don't
it
Yeah.
just in
remember
mouse, and you can
unlocking
just
that.
do it here, and you can also web launch here, where you just hold L2 and X while you're on the ground, and they just pull themselves like a slingshot, and then let go, and they go flying, which is really cool. The other thing I love is well, there's two things that I love. One move that I really like is if you dive down like you normally would, and then web swing, and then hold the R2 button down as you go swinging.
Oh yeah, I'll do
Peter
the
or Miles
super
will do a
loop.
loop-de-loop, so you'll go all the way around again, pull back up, and then fly off. And I'm like, that's really cool. I like that quite a bit. Um, Also in the settings, you can turn on fall damage and you can turn off swing assist. So if you've ever wondered how much of this game is holding my hand or not, then turn everything off and watch how shit you are. Like it's like we all knew that there was like like anti like magnets on the buildings or stuff, so you don't collide into them every 2 seconds. But like
Yeah,
the fact that you have the option to turn that shit off and turn full
that's
damage on
hilarious.
is incredible. The amount of things I've seen on Twitter of people just fucking flatlining, just splatting things, and just like
Oh,
Just
dude.
like Looney Tunes into the side of a
yeah,
building.
basically.
When during like for about 5 minutes, I sat there trying to remember how to do like the flippy tricks and stuff because I couldn't really recall the button for it.
Square, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, okay. Once I finally figured it out, Peter got like half a rotation of a front flip before biffing it on a railing
Oh,
of a building.
honestly, one of my favorite additions, because everyone used to say, "Oh, I hate it that when you hit the ground, you just land and that's it, or you do a little roll into it." They added a splat, which is great.
Oh
Again, if
yeah,
you
it's
have
great.
full damage turned off, it does no damage. But I had it as well, where I was doing tricks or whatever, and it just didn't go well. Just like actually splatted, and I got a trophy for it. I'm like, hell yeah, that's great. I love stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the amount of stuff that you can do in this game, the web wings add so much to it, and it's just like you can get across the map at such speeds in this game, and it's just so much fun. Where it's like I didn't realize how much of the like these quality of life additions would actually impact it that much. I'm sure if I went back to the old ones now, I'd be like, wow, this feels really slow, and I don't know what to do anymore. There's some really cool upgrades to it. I like it quite a bit. Um, and I think that's my main takeaway from this game is I'm loving it quite a bit. Like I say, I think that I'm being kind of thrown off by the game's pacing solely because in my head, again, we've had so long and we've had two of these games before that I was expecting it to go in a similar fashion. And it does in some ways, but in others, it's like it feels like this game has a lot more blockbuster moments in it. Like I feel like this game has already in my first 7 hours had more set pieces than the entirety of the original Spider-Man game did because like there was like three set pieces in the original um game really. There was the well maybe I'll give them four, right? I'll give them four. There was like there's the Kingpin thing at the start. There's the Martin Lee rally invasion set piece thing,
Yeah.
right? That includes the
Mm.
helicopter and all that jazz. you've got the raft escape, and then you've got the final boss fight, right? There's like those four, and it's like in
Yeah.
this game already, you have the first set piece, you then have the one that I've talked about with like it's so good. I love talking about games that have heavy spoilers. So you just go the thing with the people in it, and it's just like, yeah, it's great. Trust me. I can't say who it is because I don't want to ruin it for Hunter. Or
The introduction of Craven's crew was a pretty good one.
yeah, the Craven, like I said, Craven is very good, and I'm like, I'm sitting at this game, and I'm like. I can't wait to see what the second half of this game is, and once I've got a bigger picture of it, because right now it's just a load of threads, and it's just like, oh, Craven feels like a massive threat here, and I've not even seen Venom yet. Like, I don't even know what the deal is with the symbiote at the moment, right? It's like, we know Kurt Connors as the Lizard is in this game, and I've met Kurt Connors, but
Yeah.
again, there's no real lead on that at the moment. It's just the first kind of third of this game is just Craven hunting people, and I'm like, oh, should have expected that from a Craven the Hunter as the main villain, but you know, it feels very there's a load of wonderful set pieces. I'm having a great time. I think the story's really good so far. Um, it's just again my main critique of this game right now. I think it's fabulous, but my main critique is I feel like it does kind of lose a bit of its identity when it because we have two Spider-Man. I think that's my main critique is when you're playing as Miles and you've got the new you've got the Dana cast and stuff like that running, and you've got like Miles's own family and his own kind of people. And then in the original, you got the J. Jonah podcast and him doing all of his stuff, communicating with it. And now it's just, hey, Peter and Miles
Now they
both
both
listen to
listen to
both
both of them.
podcasts.
That threw
And
me off at first because like I got the first instance for both of them. It was I got Jonah on Miles and then
you got the Dana cast on
Danica
Peter.
on
Yeah.
Peter, and I was like, huh. Well, this is weird.
And then you just have people, you have like Genki calling Peter and you have MJ calling Miles, and you're like, it just kind of feels weird. And it's like, I understand you have to do that because there's some concessions you have to make when you're doing multiple protagonists, right? And it's like, I still love both Peter and Miles. I think they're both fabulous. But there is that kind of loss of identity when it's like, hey, 90% of the side quests, either of them can do. Pick your favorite. I'm like, that's cool. But also, they feel like they lose a bit of identity. And my favorite side quests have been so far the ones that are solely for Miles or solely for Peter,
Yeah.
because they feel more structured. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting complaint to have. You have too many good characters, and both of your protagonists are excellent. What the fuck are you doing? Like, shut it, Insomniac. God, cringe.
Stop being so based.
Stop being so based, dude.
Stop carrying PlayStation.
Stop
Yeah.
being wizards.
In terms of the actual game,
Hurry up with that Wolverine game. I want to see more of that.
60 FPS though, running smooth. I'm having no problems with it. I have had more bugs in this game than I have had in Miles and Pete and the original combined though.
I got a visual
Does your game ever
glitch
stop working?
on the. No.
Kind
that
of
happened
no.
to me and Miles once.
I have had some massive bugs though to do with audio and story. I've had cutscenes out of sync. I have had a mission end and then Peter stand there in silence and then the mission complete stuff go up and I go, no, I know there was mission ending dialogue there that I've missed. I had to go on YouTube and there was a whole thing and I'm like, I just missed all that. Like it didn't even, not even the subtitles. I got nothing. I was like, what? Okay. Like that's weird.
Luckily, mine have been less severe. I had one where the subtitles were kind of like really far behind, and then another one like on a visual glitch on the menu where it kept insisting that I had a suit to unlock with Miles, even though I had unlocked everything that was available at the time. I'm like, please just go away. This is annoying me. Please.
Yeah. I think that's been my most annoying thing is I've had some cutscenes where, like I say, nothing plays, and I'm like, I'm missing stuff here. And when that happened, I was like, oh my god, have I had times of silence before where I've been missing dialogue and stuff like that? Is that why I'm so confused? Is I'm missing things now? Like, it's one of those things. I've had scenes where subtitles are playing no voices. I've had voices no subtitles. I've had subtitles really far behind or subtitles really far ahead. I've had one where it was a conversation between Peter and Miles, and the subtitles just kept saying Spider-Man and Spider-Man, and then the wrong Spider-Man subtitles were coming up. So then I got like, if the conversation was Peter Miles, one time I got
Well, they
Peter
distinguished them
Miles
with a little
Peter, got it back, yeah.
Spider-Man icon next to it.
But then I had one cutscene where it was them two talking on a bridge where Peter's subtitles were two ahead because they were the wrong Spider-Man, and then Miles's were two behind to compensate. So they just kept going wrong, and I was like, this is funny, but it shouldn't be. But you know, and it doesn't hurt the game. That one didn't hurt the gameplay experience because I wasn't really reading them. But I was also like, oh, it's a bit quirky that, but.
Every copy of Spider-Man 2 was personalized.
Yeah, it's your own unique experience. And I guess my only other main critique is like, I love a good upgrade. I love some good upgrades and customization, but my fucking god, dude! Like there is literally like 50 points on the skill trees combined. There is like 7 different upgrades for all of your different equipment pieces. There are health stats and all of that upgrades for all of those
Yeah,
as well.
I felt like it was going fine. I feel like it felt pretty standard up until they were like, ah, yes, suit upgrades too, and I'm like, this seems like an extra wrinkle that you didn't need. You already have two.
Yeah.
You already have 2 characters that you
No,
gotta
Hunter,
eventually
more
upgrade
skill
all
trees,
of.
the better.
And you know
No,
how in
that is
Miles
a silly
and
way of thinking.
in Miles in the base game you had like backpack tokens and crime tokens and city tokens and photography tokens, and it was like everything just kind of in this game they've kind of homogenized a lot of them, so you just have like tokens, more valuable tokens and hero tokens, and it's like everything now just costs 3, but then you're like, okay, you need 6 bajillion parts to upgrade all this shit, and I'm like, oh my god, it just makes it feel worse. It just kind of makes it feel worse. Which is a shame, because the suit customization and stuff like that is miles better in this game. I love what they've
Yeah,
done with
yeah, I like
that.
that. I like there's
Nailed
like
it.
every one of them have like 4. Well, most of them. I've come across a few of Peter's suits only have the one, but most of them have like 4 different palette swaps and stuff, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really cool, which annoys me because, well, you guys know me. I'm a fucking nerd, so I'm looking at all these suits. I'm like,
Box
that's
art
nice.
Billy
I'm gonna
over
stay
here.
with the regular Peter and the regular Miles costumes for the entire game. And there's no new game plus released yet, so
Coward.
that's my entire experience. Hooray! I couldn't even
Sadly
use the
for me,
colors. I
Noir
tried.
Spider-Man isn't on the table yet, so I haven't been able to select the one that I played as for most of the first game, but I saw its silhouette. I know when I'm getting it.
I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think like 90%, if not all of the old costumes are back in this game. A lot
They
of them
seem
are.
to be, yeah.
But because there's some really good colorways, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like for example, on Miles's base suit, he has the normal Spider-Man colors, which I noticed, which was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm like, but why doesn't Peter have the Miles colors then? I'm like, why don't they have his swapsies? I'm like,
I
why
mean, he
does
gets a 2099
he does get the
Spider-Man
29
suit that can
suit,
be
yeah.
turned all the way black and not the
Yeah.
dark blue, so it's close enough.
Peter has one of he has like a pink and black one, like a more pinkish red and black for his base suit. I'm like, that's really cool. I'd probably use
Yeah.
that one if I wasn't such a fucking stickler to the rules of like being like the white spider stays on during my story. But you know,
I saw there was also a Spider-Man suit with the Moon Knight color scheme. That
Yeah,
Oh
one
yeah,
yeah.
that
pretty
was the
cool.
pre-order bonus was the
That one
Arachnite or
looked cool.
There
whatever.
are capes
And
with some of them. Some of them have
Miles
capes
got
now.
one where he just looked like a assassin
Ooh.
cape. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool. I had
But
that
no,
one
the
on for a
customization.
cutscene, and I was like, "This looks kind of silly." He was talking to his mom. He was about to go to the park for a LARPing session.
Yeah.
I'm a real Spider-Man.
It's I feel like, you know, I feel like I feel like I'm always here's the thing, right? Is if you listen to this podcast long enough, you know that if I'm being nitpicky and critical like this, it probably means that Ethan loves the game and he's just trying to. I'm very hard to gush about games as much as I do. I think this game is fabulous. I really do. I think it's really something, and I think it's a testament to Insomniac that not only are they able to release games like this, but they're able to do so on a regular basis to the point where this is the third PS5 game that they've made, and it's probably their best one that they've made to
Yeah,
date.
yeah. The quality hasn't slipped yet either.
Like I feel like
You
people are always talking about like, oh, is it like I've seen other podcasts and stuff like that talk about, oh, is
talking
Insomniac
about
just
Insomniac
yeah,
like they're not
they're
PlayStation's
not like
best
an S
studio right
tier
now.
there, and I'm like, that people are like, oh, but they're no Naughty Dog and they're no Sony Santa Monica, and I'm like, Sony Santa
Yeah, because they
Monica
make
just
new games.
yeah, and I'm like, Spider-Man 2 is as much of a sequel as God of War Ragnarok was to God of War 2018. And I
Sure
mean that in the
is.
biggest of compliments. Is the performances are better, the movement is perfection. The graphics in this game, we talked about how goofy the faces can look at times. My fucking
The
god.
clothing texturing is out of this world.
You haven't seen it yet, Hunter. When it turns nighttime and you're gliding across the fucking water to the
Oh,
mainland, oh my fucking
that
god, it
water
looks
glide is
like
a
real
sweet
life.
move, by the way.
Pardon?
That water glide that you can do when you touch the water
Yeah.
when off of a swing, it's a sweet move, by the way.
Yeah. But when you see this game at night, my fucking god, it's gorgeous. It is unbelievably good looking. And it's like Insomniac just like they're Sony's best studio at the moment, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
If you ask
They're
me
no
what my
Naughty
thought,
Dog, blah blah blah. They haven't been spending 5 years making a multiplayer game that only 10 people want. They've made
bear in
3 other
mind-
games.
And bear in mind, right, I haven't played Demon's Souls, right? I haven't played Demon's Souls. But if you were to ask me what my top 5 PS5 games are from the current generation in no particular order, Spider-Man 2 will be on there. I know that is for a fact that it will be on there. But so will be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, that'll also be on there. And more than likely, so will Miles Morales. The only other two that I can think of that will probably be on that top 5 are Returnal and Astro's fucking Playroom. Like, those are my top 5 video games from this generation so far. In terms of PlayStation 5 exclusives, I love Forbidden West and I really like God of War, but those 5 in particular, 3 of them, fucking Insomniac. Like, they're genuinely great at what they do. And, like, my god, like, I can nitpick and bitch about this game all I want. I think it'll be my game of the year, probably. Like, there's a high chance that it will be, because it is just so damn good. And it's like, they made this game in... It probably did take them 5 years. They probably did start right after Spider-Man 1. But the fact that they can pace themselves where they can have multiple games in development at one time and still learn from each of those games, it's a fucking accomplishment. Like, they're honestly on another level.
It's great.
And
like, it hasn't got it, like, you know, having 3 Spider-Man games in 5 years seems... It hasn't gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm tired of seeing you so soon yet, either.
The only thing I am thinking is I really would appreciate that we go to 3 next. I don't want another standalone. Like, unless this game finishes and I'm like, oh my god, I need a standalone. I feel like I could do with a bigger weight, if that makes sense, because I'm playing it and I'm like, I'm loving this. This is great, but also... You know, we got like 3 years of back-to-back
they did
Spider-Man.
something where they wanted to get a little like weird with it, rather than like do Miles Morales or give him his own like, I don't know, get more
Black
experimental with it.
spin-off.
Like, yeah, Black Cat is where I was gonna go with that.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Let me play Shocker for an entire game.
Dude, a little villain anthology where you get like a little vignettes of all of the like low-level villains and do a must-lose final boss against Spider-Man every time would be great.
I do. Yeah, I feel like I love this universe, and there's a small part of me. I hope it's true. I don't know if they've confirmed it yet. I really hope this Wolverine game is set in the same universe. I really do hope that it's set in the same universe. Because I really like this Insomniac bubble that they've made and these characters that they have created. I think they've done a great job. There's not a single adaptation of a character really that I've seen so far where I'm like, I don't like there's stuff like Screwball, which I fucking despise, right? But that's not.
I feel like there's no version of that character that's good though.
Yeah, probably. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. But you know, even from the little hints of people that we've seen that have only showed up for a couple of seconds, like the boss that was at the start of this game. I was like, haven't seen much of you. Like what you did with the character though.
Yeah.
Mysterio, same way. Haven't seen much of you yet, but you're actually, I think, pretty
Oh,
cool.
I haven't
Like,
met him at all yet.
yeah. I'm only saying Mysterio because it seems to me like he's one of the sides, like side activities, not like a massive player, but you know he's Mysterio.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just stuff like they talk about Kurt Connors, and he's like, oh, he's out, because there are characters like Mysterio and Lizard that you saw at that Halloween party or whatever it was, that university
Yeah.
party, right? So it's like you have these past villains. Not everyone has to have an origin story, which is great. And I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about when we finish the story, probably next week. Because I don't see it. It's a Spider-Man game. It won't take that long.
Yeah. People have been accusing it of being too short since
Oh, shut the fuck
a
up,
month
bro.
ago.
That first mission in that video in Spider-Man 2 is worth a lot more than a lot of games I've played the entirety of this year, dude. Like that 1 hour of the video game.
Yeah.
1
hour of Spider-Man is like 6 Gotham Knights.
Genuinely, I had more fun. And that's there's so many moments in this game where I just smile. Like I just do these little like inner child like little smirks and laughs when I see some of the stuff that happens in this game. Like there are honestly things where I'm like, that's so fucking cool. And I'm not a comic fan, and I'm not particularly like huge into Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, right? But it's like there's so many things where it's just like, oh, that's so cool. Where I'm just like, I can't believe you've done that. And you know, do it for one mission or whatever. There's so much good stuff to find in this game. Like, obviously, I recommend it. It's great. It's fucking fabulous. Do I have my nitpicks? Yes. Is the story a bit fucking wishy-washy at the moment in the first half of it? Yes. But I have faith that they bring it around in the end.
It's lived up to the hype in your head.
So far, yeah. But I haven't even played as Venom yet, so, you know, it's like, I don't have the full picture. That's the problem. I don't have the full picture.
Right.
But I'm having a blast. And I've kind of gotten over the fact that my copy didn't arrive and I have to buy it fucking again. But, you know, I'm still having fun, so that must mean something. You recommend it, Hunter?
Oh yeah, I sure do. If you've liked the other ones, if you're interested in playing or interested in just hopping into this one, go for it.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I say, there's a lot of fun to be had. There are loads of little references and little things. There's some characters that are from the first game where I was like, oh, I definitely didn't expect to see you again. And there's just like little scenes and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like Hunter's mentioned some flashbacks between Harry and Peter. So I'm like, stuff like that. I'm like, there's so much good story stuff in this game where I'm like, oh, this is great. Like I can't. This Venom situation is. I'm not a huge fan of Venom. I think Venom looks cool, but I don't ever think there is ever really a good. I think Venom as a character by themselves is good. I don't think there's ever a good way of doing this emo Peter Parker phase. I'm kind of dreading it, but like I'm very interested to see who Venom is still. Like, because I'm like, it could be Harry, it could be it's like this could like now that we have the we have the spider arms at the start. I'm like, it could still be Peter by the end of it. I'm like, there genuinely is so many possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. It's great. But yeah, I'm stay tuned, I guess, because trust me, we've got Alan Wake next week. I'm sure we can cram more Spider-Man talk in next week. I'm sure we'll have the time.
Yeah.
We also might talk about we might talk about the intro next week. We might have fucking free reign. Give you a week.
Oh yeah, just second half of next week gonna be a mini spoiler cast.
Oh yeah, fuck it, dude. Fuck it. Anyway.
Oh boy. Can't wait.
It is very good. It's very good. But it's a fucking, of course it is. Water's wet.
I'll try and get to it by the end of the year.
I think you'll have a lot of fun with it when you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I just got home from work the other day, I just wasn't feeling anything I needed to pay attention to.
Oh, I get that all the time, dude. Like the fucking Jedi. I was feeling the same way where I'm like, I'm not feeling playing Jedi right now, and then it never came up, right? We've all been there.
You haven't been feeling Jedi.
And here we are at the end of October.
It's fixed now. I'll fucking play it soon. Shut the fuck up, man. I swear. I'll get to it, Mom. My dad fucking jokes about that now. Even my dad's in on that fucking joke where he's like,
Oh my god.
why are you buying new games? You still haven't played fucking Star Wars. Like, shut up.
Oh, it's
Shut up,
hilarious.
Don't tell me what to do. God. God, now my little danganronpa. Look, I'm getting that angry. My little danganronpa antenna's coming out, dude. Fucking hell. Anyway, moving on. It's
Oh,
Super
you'd be a
fucking
much better
Mario.
protagonist than Makoto.
Thank you. You're wrong. Anyway, Super fucking Mario. Super Mario Wonder is out. Kyle, how much Mario Wonder have you played then?
I just got into the third world
Okay,
before.
we've played
I
about
actually
the same.
just got there before you showed up to start the recording.
I've played about the exact same. I've done the first 2 worlds, so
Nice.
we've both played roughly the same amount of this video game.
Perfect.
Where do we start, Kyle? Where do we start with Mario Wonder? Because it's interesting, right? I feel like it's taking a lot of people by storm. People love this game from the looks of it. How are you
It's a
feeling
good video
about it?
game. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a very, very solidly made platformer. Controls nicely. I think there's enough variance to keep my interest. It's good. Good game.
I think that it's fantastic. I think that there's a bit of hyperbole, which I think always happens when we talk about Nintendo games and stuff like that, where I've seen a lot of people on the internet being like, Nintendo could have taken just one of these Wonder ideas and turned it into a whole fucking game. Like, no, they couldn't. Like, come on, some of these are absolutely
Okay.
like, I've seen the
I
people
don't
going
know.
around
A
going, they could.
whole
I'm
game
like,
of Elephant Mario and pals.
yeah, I'm like, oh really? They could turn a whole game from we just made every platform invisible, walk around and find the 5 fucking bullshit fragments. Yeah, what a great game that would be,
God,
Nintendo.
that was
Thank you very
annoying.
much. You know, I'm like, I feel like as always with Nintendo games, and it happens particularly to Mario and Zelda, where we joke about the Nintendo tax, right? But it's like people are like, this is the greatest game ever made. I'm like, this is a really solid 2D platformer. And I really love this game. It is probably my favorite Mario 2D platformer. But bear in mind, kids, Ethan
You
doesn't
hate
like
Mario.
2D Mario. You
Ethan's
don't
played
like
like
that
2 of
shit.
them.
I've played the original Mario Bros. I played a bit of Mario 3. I've played like half of Mario World. So
Huh.
I've played the
That's
greatest
actually more than I
hits.
was expecting.
I've played the greatest hits, and then I played New
Sorry,
Soup.
you don't play
Obviously,
old games. I didn't think you'd go back
sorry,
that
I
far.
played New Soup DS. I played New Soup Wii. I played like 2 levels of Mario New Soup 2, and then I played like the entirety of New Soup U.
Luigi.
I have not played Luigi. I've played like 2
Ah.
levels of Luigi U and went, this game's the fucking same as the rest of them. But you turned the timer down. Wow.
And made everything ice physics.
So I think the only game that I actually haven't played is Mario 2. Is the only one that I haven't played from the 2. Oh, and fucking Yoshi's Island. If we're gonna be that, like,
No,
if we're
not
gonna
gonna
be
be that pedantic.
yeah, but someone listening
Hunter
will be
didn't
one of
count
those
Yoshi
people.
when we were listing the Mario games. It's fine.
It counted
Okay.
as the spin-off, if you recall.
Oh, you did? You did count that?
Damn, that's
Yeah, it was
crazy.
a spin-off. I had to draw the line at Donkey Kong because Donkey Kong came first, but
That's true.
Ah,
That's true.
yeah.
that's fair.
But I think it's a damn solid platform. Like, I think it's really good. And I think the reason that I think this game is really good is, yeah, it has its personality, and it's like it's a very charming video game. It really
yeah.
is. From the animations, like all the transformations now have actual animations instead of just phasing in and out of existence, which is really nice. All the voice acting. Yes, everybody, last week I did make a threat saying this game would be classed as shit if no one else said wowie zowie. Everybody does who can turn into an elephant does say wowie zowie. Game of the year. But there's just so much charm. Like, I thought the talking flower fuckers would be the most annoying thing ever.
Oh yeah.
I think they're really. I like them quite a bit. They say some really funny things.
I've gotten
Like,
a lot of good chuckles out of their lines.
it's really good. Like, there'll be parts where like I had one that was like saying something like, "Oh, this is fine," and then the floor collapsed and they started screaming as we both fell down a pit. And it's just like, it's stuff like that where I'm like,
Nice.
I don't expect voice acting from a 2D Mario game, and I'm really appreciated it being here. There are so many funny like lines.
And
Another
there
thing-
is
Yeah, go
an option in the game to turn off the flowers dialogue
Don't be a pussy.
if you do find it annoying.
No, don't be a pussy, dude. If you don't like it, uninstall the game. You're a bitch. Like, fucking no. It's good shit. It's good shit.
I mean, as
It's
long as
funny.
the flower doesn't sound like Toad, it couldn't be that
No,
bad.
No, the flower
it sounds
has a really soothing voice, actually.
He sounds like the Ring
Oh,
Fit
amazing.
narrator. I think it's the same guy. He sounds like the Ring Fit narrator. But no, I think that's really charming. The music, fucking god, it's like taking a leap into the heavens from the new Soup soundtrack, dude. I'm like, wow, this is some good music for once in a 2D Mario games.
It can have some personality,
Yeah.
finally.
It's not just it's just not the ha ha. It's not that anymore. We've actually got some music. It's good. I think the one thing I respect this game for more than anything is there's some actual challenging platforming in this video game. Like there is some actually tough levels.
Mm.
And I think that's what surprised me the most is because New Soup, half of the challenge came from if you were playing in multiplayer because you're just fucking dicking about. Like it was just people throwing each other off of cliffs. It was somebody gets in the way so that you like get a half bounce and then fall into a pit. Like it was a load of like chaotic energy surrounding the New Soup.
It's amazing
games
how
in
co-op
multiplayer.
games are always easier when you're playing by yourself.
Whereas this game, not only do you not have that anymore, I can't believe people on Twitter were going, "This is the worst thing. Bring it back." I'm like, God no, thank you.
Dude, the most surprising thing about that discourse to me was seeing that We Like to Pray was still around. I thought they were long gone.
The best post I saw about that kind of thing was it was something to the effect of Nintendo could have made a feature where every time you push a button you get stabbed by the controller, and people would complain that they took it out in the next game.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how people are, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
but the way
Getting rid of bad things is good for a sequel.
But the way that it's like, there are some genuinely challenging platforming here where there are levels where, especially if you're going through the secret exits and going to like the secret world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are some really challenging. There was one level that involved bouncing on these fucking hippos over these spiked
Oh my
pits,
God.
and I'm not. I swear to
Hippo
God, it
jump?
took me 30 minutes because yeah, there was literally Hunter. These hippos that are rolling on these fucking spikes, right? And if you bounce on the left, it'll keep going right. And if you bounce on the right, it'll switch to going left. And something about my pea brain just did not compute with this for a good 20 minutes. And so every time I just fuck it up once and I'd get so angry. But I'm like, yeah, I finally figured it out. Or there's another one where it's like, it's all timed to the beat of the song. So it's like the platforms
Oh,
would
you played
disappear and
Hi-Fi
reappear.
Rush. This should
And
be
that's how-
easy.
Those ones I did find were a lot easier, but I'm like, hey, this is fun and challenging, and I like that quite a bit. There's also there's two types of multiplayer. You've got your regular local, or or you play your regular local 4-player, no fucking about allowed, but you can all play together, which is cool. And then you have the online modes. Which have you messed about with these, Kyle?
No.
Is it functional?
I don't know.
They are functional.
Oh,
And I think
give them
they're
go.
pretty cool.
Damn.
They make the game slightly easier, but what they effectively do is when you connect to online, they basically put 3 people who are also playing that level as little ghosts in the background. And I think this stuff, it's really interesting because not only if you die, you become a ghost, and if you quickly run to somebody else, they can tag you back in and you can carry on going from that point, which is kind of cute. If you need help, there you go. You can do that. For me, it's annoying because when I'm doing the timer level and I forgot to turn online off, I just have to sit in the fucking void for 5 seconds waiting for death. Because even if I do catch up to the other person, my platforms aren't on the same cycle anyway, so it doesn't matter. So like, oh, well, kind of stupid. But they can really
Mario
help.
Wonder,
Like,
the second Strand game.
it honestly is a Strand game, dude. It genuinely is. I was gonna say that it is a Strand game because you can see people and they're not like Mario Maker where you see ghosts of people who have done the level prior or anything like that. They're people playing in real time. So like I had somebody where they were really struggling to get one of the bonus coins. So I like teabagged, the everybody knows the game of language.
The universal sign,
It's the
Kyle.
universal sign of saying, follow me, I'll help you out. It's just teabag the ground. And then I showed him where the entrance was and he thanked me and everything. I was like, that's such a cute moment.
Aw.
It's a Strand game. It genuinely is a Strand game. Um, or there are these other puzzles, like there are these separate stages which are like either challenges or there's one that's like, we've hidden 5 fucking bullshit objects around this map. Can you find them? The answer's no. One of them's really fucking shitty.
The answer is I gave up after finding 3 of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, Kyle, the idea is if you're connected online, they stick you with 5 other people or 4 other people or whatever, and you can all help each other find them together. So it's like, oh, that's cool. One of
Well,
them I
maybe I
couldn't
should try
find still
that.
for the life of me, but then I eventually did find it. I'm like, oh god, I'm free. But this kind of idea of asynchronous multiplayer, of people being there but not really, I really like it. It's a cool idea, especially when it is people in real time. You can help people out, you can find secrets together. It's a really cool mechanic. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it works, which I'm surprised. Nintendo Online working, that was crazy. Like, I've not seen a single person stutter or like teleport halfway through a level. Like, I've not seen any of that.
Huh.
I'm like, wow. I'm very impressed. Good
Shocking.
job, Nintendo. It's only taken 7 years of a console life cycle, but you nearly got it. Functioning video game right there.
You know, they nailed it with Mario Party.
Yeah, they too. They did nail it with Mario Party. But yeah,
You know, maybe
Which-
at the
which I
beginning
think
they
was the
nailed it with
biggest
Mario
surprise of
Party.
that
I
game.
think later on when I played that, like months after it came out, suddenly it was very hard to play a game
yeah.
online. So
Hmm.
maybe it just deteriorated.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Probably. But no, I think there's a lot to like about this game. Obviously, you have Elephant Mario, which is fucking stupid.
This thing still weirds me out.
I have only been playing as Mario. So I've just
I
been
don't
seeing.
trust you.
I've been seeing Mario. I just always play these games as Mario. I'm just.
I don't trust you.
Yeah, sorry. Well,
You're
what?
telling
my,
me in a game with all these characters you pick fucking Mario?
Yeah,
He plays
because
as
here's the thing.
default Spider-Man, of
You know
course.
what?
Plays as
You know what,
default
that's
Spider-Man.
right.
This is my plot.
But they
But
gave him
no.
Yoshi.
Yeah, I would play as Yoshi. Yoshi's
Is that who
easy
you-
mode.
Yeah. Who
I'm not
cares?
playing bitch mode. I'm not playing bitch mode. I don't come to the Mario party and go, yes, basic bitch mode, please. I don't want to die, and then like carry on. No. I want
That
to
is
turn
kind
into
of
an
annoying.
elephant and go
It is kind of
wowie
annoying that
zowie.
it's kind of annoying that they gave you 4 colored Yoshis and they're all set to easy mode.
Well, I understand because you might have 4 little kids that want to actually play
Well,
the game.
yeah,
So it
I
makes
get it.
sense. Being able to toggle them
Just
might
give
have
us
been
a
nice.
5th Yoshi is what I'm saying.
Or be able to
Or
toggle them.
toggle.
Every character to be easy mode. Do that.
Yeah.
Who's playing as Nabbit? Could have removed that. Who's playing as Nabbit? No fuckers playing as Nabbit. In the intro cutscene, you've got them all running away, and then you have the 4 Yoshis, and then you have Nabbit behind them. Like, Nabbit, you might as well fucking stay here. No one's picking you, mate. Just go home.
I mean, what are the
Bro
options?
thinks he's part of the
Mario
team.
with Luigi.
Bro thinks he's
is-
part of the team, dude.
Like I don't know
Yeah.
if Toad's been removed from the playable options, but I would play as Nabbit before I play as Toad.
I think they gave you Blue Toad.
It's Toad and
Yeah, I would play as
Toadette, right?
Nabbit before I would
Yeah.
play as Toad.
I think
Toad
the,
and
character,
Toadette.
the characters are Mario, Luigi, Peach,
Peach,
Daisy, Toad, Toadette,
4 Yoshis
Yoshi,
and Nabbit.
Yoshi, and Nabbit, yeah. It's like 11 characters, which is impressive. Very, plenty of options.
I mean, there's no variance between any of them. They all play
Which
the
I like.
same.
I hate that
Oh,
new
you do?
soup. Yeah, I fucking hate that new soup. Because
Oh.
here's the thing. Call me old-fashioned, I like it when level design is designed for the fucking one moveset.
For the one
Because-
control scheme,
yeah.
yeah.
Because then you get NST syndrome, where we made a character that was made for Crash 3 moveset, and then when you go to Crash 2, oops, all shite because you jumped too low. And it's like, I prefer that everybody has the same, and then the personality comes from the voice lines or the way that their animations actually move instead of it being a variance. Because I thought it was annoying as fuck. Never wanted to play as Luigi. His jump's too fucking high. I don't like it. Toad, yeah, he's
It's like
quicker.
in Donkey Kong
jump.
Country, and everyone would always just swap to Diddy right away because he's quicker.
Yeah.
It's the
I'd
same
much-
ordeal.
I'd much prefer, and I'm sure someone would be like, actually, it's 2 frames quicker if you play as fucking Toadette. I'm like, don't give a shit. I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
if you're
care.
counting the frame rates of a Mario game, you've already
Oh,
lost.
did you see the speedrunning
help.
discourse? Because obviously this game leaked, right?
Oh, yeah.
The big speedrunning discourse from this video game was people were crying because people had the game early, so they're like, they're going to get world records before us. And I'm like, mate, hate to break it to you. Don't need the game early. Just be good at the fucking video game. It's just that simple,
Yeah.
really. Put the time in. Who wants the
This
day
is
one world record? Nobody.
like all the
Somebody
people
insult's not
playing
going to
the
go,
crack.
actually, Poop Master 65 had the fucking world record 2 days before the game came out. He just played it, but he had it, technically. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Stupid.
It's like all the people who were playing Street Fighter 6 early this year, like who got the cracked version.
Yeah.
You weren't going to hear their names at Evo or at the Capcom Pro Tour.
No, of course
Like,
not.
no, they're just random Timmies who didn't want to pay for something.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly, we'll talk about the Wonder Seed. Obviously, the big thing with Wonder is each level has these things called Wonder Seeds Hunter. Brilliant mechanic.
Well, it's in every level.
So every level has a Wonder Star or whatever in it, where if
Yeah.
you collect it, everything goes batshit crazy, and if you finish it, you get a Wonder Seed.
The Wonder Seeds are basically just your MacGuffins to get through a world.
You get one.
Very
You get one
good.
from. You get one for a wonder. You get one for the end of the level. Sometimes you get two for an end of the level because sometimes in the wonders they break the original end goal and you keep going further. And yes, that original end goal does count as an ending, so you have to do the non-wonder version to then get that one. Because of course, why not? So there's fun stuff like that, and I mean, some of them are pretty good. Like it depends, right? Not all of them.
They're creative, if nothing
hitters.
else.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites, Kyle? What are some that you've liked so far?
I know the one that stood out to me because I was struggling with it was, I think it's the second castle or the airship. It's one of those two, but they basically make your character long.
Yeah.
So
Long
you just
boy
kind of
Mario.
Yeah, you're just like long, and so you
See,
have
that's
to
something. Yeah,
it's just it was interesting.
that's something that
And
I
if
already
you
had
crouch,
to.
you like
Yeah.
compressed.
Oh, that's hilarious.
was
You're like an
weird.
accordion.
Yeah, it all goes like Donkey Kong Country Night style, where it's all
Yeah.
silhouettes and everything. Yeah, I'd already experienced that because in the secret route to the special world in World 1, that gimmick was already used again already. So I was like, oh, I kind of had the hang of it by that point, but it was still a bit janky. Some of my favorites, obviously, it's a very basic answer. People have seen it all over Twitter. There's one where it's the second level where all the piranha plants basically start singing a fucking song where everything becomes like a Rayman Legends level, which I thought was pretty cute. I liked that quite a bit. There's one I didn't particularly think it worked well in gameplay, but it was a cool in concept where I'm just gonna put that down because it's annoying me. The antenna is going down. But there's one where you're like in a cave, right, Hunter? So you're playing a 2D and you're in a cave, and then all of a sudden you hit the wonder thing, and now you're standing on the back wall, and now it becomes like a top-down Zelda kind of thing where you're running on like the wall and you've got to get around everything. It was a cool idea. I liked that one quite a bit. There's one where there's like a stampede of fucking bulls that you have to like run away from, or like that chase you through the map. That was quite cool. There's a load of fun ones. They're very interesting. Like I say, they're not all hitters. Some of them are big whiffs. Like I've had a couple now where it's like we've changed the world slightly. Collect the 5 MacGuffins, and like I don't want to collect the 5 MacGuffins.
Yeah, there's a really shitty one where you're just climbing on invisible slopes trying to find 5 tokens. That one was miserable.
Yeah, and I still think it has.
Never a fan of when they decide, yes, invisibility is the key.
They still have that bullshit Mario design, which I don't like, where it still is like, we've got the 3 coins, and most of the time, they're either all fairly simple to find, or they're so bullshit obscure that you basically either have to sit in the level for an hour or Google it, where it's like, yes, you dumb fuck, you need to equip this badge, and then headbutt this red pipe, only this one, not the other 3 that are in the area, that one, you dumb fucker.
Or just
if
get
you
lucky
headbutt
and fall
one of
down
the other
right
ones,
hole.
you explode.
Yeah, or it'll be stuff like, oh yeah, they introduced in one level that some levels you can push the pipes into position onto like buttons, and then like 5 levels later, there's one single pipe that you can push that can help you get to a fucking item, but it doesn't slot into a button. It's just if you accidentally walk into it, you'll notice that you can move it, and I'm like, so you've been expecting me to push every fucking pipe since then? Like, is that what I'm supposed to be doing, Nintendo? It's like, it's stuff like that where you're like, it's old school design where I'm just like, it's a bit shit. Like I feel like we've got past this where we don't need to just bang our head on everything anymore. Um, but for the most part, I think it's a really charming game. I think it's very well made.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's very long. Like the worlds are really long. I'm not used to that in
really?
Mario. Like if you're doing the secret exits and stuff like that, there was something like I think there's 35 wonder seeds in the first world and 30 in the second. So if you do, I've
Huh.
100%ed them so far, and it's taken me 5 hours to do 2 worlds, which seems like a very long time for a 2D Mario game. So I'm like, that's usually there's like 5 levels at a boss. This one's like, yeah, there's like 8 levels, 4 mini games, a couple of secrets. And it's like, geez, this game just keeps going. It's very, but in a good way.
Yeah.
They're very good. The only
How are
complaints
you?
that I do have. Sorry, Cal, what did you want to say?
I was just gonna say, how are you feeling about the bosses so far? How do you
That's
feel
what I was
about
about to say. Utter shite. That was what I was going to
Bowser
say.
Jr. and
Yes,
Bowser
it seems
Jr.?
like they replaced the Koopalings that everybody saw as generic boss fights with just Bowser Jr.
Who
eight
everyone's
times or
probably going to
whatever.
see as a generic boss fight.
Absolute shite. And he's got wonder powers and they're just shit. He's like, look, I've now turned the stage to ice. And now I've changed it to honey. And now I'm going to dive in the honey and then piss about and play whack-a-mole while you're stuck in the honey. And I'm like, this is great. What great game design. I
This
don't
is the
think
help we get. This is the thanks we get after Bowser's Fury.
yeah. And I think it's
Minerva,
like
you.
there are some, like I said, there's some cool ideas. Like I say, I like how big the worlds are, but then at times I'm also like, Jesus, like, can we wrap it up? Like, can we get moving? Like, can I get to the next area? Or the hub area in this one, it's like instead of it being a straight line going through 8 worlds, this one it's like each world's attached to a central hub, but the central hub
Mhm.
also has levels. So I'm like, I just want to go to the next fucking world. I don't want to piss about and get another badge. Like, just let me
Yeah.
go. And it just kind of forces you to stay in, which is a
It's like
bit
a
weird.
weird interlude world.
Yeah, the special world has an entrance into it via each world,
Hmm.
which is like interesting. But then you can only do that one level, and then it's like, yeah, go fuck off, and then like fuck off now. I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. Thanks.
Like the secret warp room.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
it's
it genuinely is.
kind
What
of
the
like
secret?
Star World from Mario World was.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting there like, damn. Now I've got to go back to the easy levels because I just spent fucking half an hour bashing my head on the wall trying to get this one done. But that's a
Do some
bit.
platforming time to the music.
Dude, I did that one first. I did that one first try, and I was like, "Fucking gamer, dude!" It was the other one. It was the World one where, like I said, it was the bouncing on those fucking fat hippos that took me like 40 minutes. I'm like, "Damn you, hippos! Bad level. It's a very
I'll need to
bad
go
level."
back and find that level.
Oh, it's because I'll give you. It's because it's got the level that was like randomly 4 stars or whatever in the first world
Oh
was
yeah.
like that has a secret exit to it that also
Okay.
then gives you another 3 or 4 levels in that hub world. That's why I'm saying that world was really
Oh.
long. Yeah. It
Oh.
like adds another 3 or 4 levels to it, and I'm like, wow, that's
I
crazy.
see.
Hmm. And then,
Because yeah,
because
I
if
got
you,
through World One, and I'm like, dude, this took me. I feel like this didn't even take me an hour. I don't know what Ethan's complaining about.
yeah, they take. Well,
Maybe he's just bad.
I've been also going for all Wonder Seeds, all obviously hitting Wonderful on every flagpole, and just getting a
Mhm.
tick on every level, basically. And then I
Yeah.
noticed the second one, the Piranha Plant one, also didn't have a tick. So I was like, oh, there must be a secret exit in there as well. And there is a secret exit in that level as well. But that one doesn't take you on a whirlwind tour of levels. You just go through a pipe and Captain Toad's there, just like, sup, bitch, I'm Captain Toad. I'm like, cool. And then I walked away because
Hi,
nothing
Captain
happens.
Toad.
Yeah.
Hello, Captain Toad.
And Captain Toad's like,
Thank
do
you
I
for your
know you? I'm
service.
like, are you trying to retcon his origins for the third time? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, where's he from? Galaxy, 3D Land? Nope. Odyssey? Nope. This now. I'm like, great.
This is
Thanks,
Super
Captain
Mario
Toad.
Galaxy erasure, and I will not stand for it.
Don't worry, it's also erasing 3D World and now Odyssey. Everything just gets erased from Captain Toad's timeline, apparently. Um,
Maybe it's just a different
May
Captain
yeah,
Toad.
yeah, maybe the
maybe.
mantle's just been passed to a different Toad every time.
Do like Spider-Man, Captain Toads.
Yeah, Captain Toads. Each one of them, falls into the, I don't know, fungal sickness or whatever, and departs and has to pass on his stupid little hat.
Well, it's not a hat because when you use the hat badge, they just grab another hat. Mario and Luigi take their hats off. Princess Peach and Daisy have like hats themselves, obviously because they don't wear hats. Toad, grabs a fucking random hat, like random blue like hat, and flies away. I'm like,
Yep.
this is stupid. Why didn't he take his fucking mushroom off? And go,
Unplayable.
"Hey." That'd be funnier.
I want a
no.
refund.
Yeah. You think it'd work even better for Toadette? She has the little fucking braids. She could hold on to the braids. Is it fucking flying around? Like, you think it'd make more sense? But no. But now, would you recommend the game overall, Cal? From what you've played so far?
I would. This game's a lot of fun, and I feel like it'd be even more fun if you could get some friends together.
It is. It's a good time. I like it quite a bit. It does. It feels. I know we've got that Princess Peach game still to come, but it does kind of feel like it. It's almost bittersweet because this kind of feels like one of the last big ones. You know, this is it. We're getting to the end of the Switch. Even Doug Bowser's like, we're trying to make it we're trying to make transition as smooth as possible. I'm like, you Nintendo, you're gonna fuck it up, but it's nice to see you saying you're gonna try. I love how they were like, because we made a Nintendo account. I'm like, yeah, you made Nintendo Network IDs last time to make it easier, and then you binned them. And then you just fucking went, yeah, bye-bye. And then it's like, now it's a Nintendo account. I'm like, oh, God.
See, eventually, or you see, the caveat here is going to be the next one's going to have, you no longer need the goofy numbers anymore, but that also means that you need a new account.
Oh, fucking don't bring friend codes back. Good Lord. What stupid, like, honestly. Matt, how did we go from Wii U where you just typed in someone's username to then going back to friend codes? We devolved.
The next one, you're going to have to send them in by mail.
I just hope we have more than 2 themes next time. That's all I'm saying. Don't have a themes tab.
Oh, that would be nice.
And then not fucking use it for 7 years. But oh well. But yeah, it's a good time. I like Mario Wonder quite a bit. I'm surprised by Mario Wonder. It actually does live up to the charm, and all the voices are great. If you're worried about the new voice actors, they're all pretty good from what I can tell. Well, if you hadn't told me that Charles had not voiced, I wouldn't tell. I honestly couldn't tell. You couldn't.
Yeah, and getting mad that the new voice actor only has a handful of credits to his career so far is stupid, and you should not do that.
No,
it's dumb. Why don't you go voice act in a video game before you make these criticisms, you clown?
Yeah, dude, honestly, why didn't they just get Chris Pratt to voice Mario?
Oh, because
what were they thinking?
Because they have no.
Note sarcasm.
Yeah. But hey.
Nah, game's good. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
It's a good time. But yeah, I guess with that, we're done. I guess that's it. We've talked about Spider-Man. We've talked about Mario. We're done here.
We have fulfilled our obligations.
We fulfilled our quota.
Month.
Yeah. Next week we have
it's Halloween.
Alan Wake.
Yes, we.
Good old Al. He's showing up for the first time in like a decade. That's fun for him. Good for Al.
He's finally awake again.
Oh, thank God.
Yep.
He needed to be, man. He needed to be. But yeah, we'll talk all about that. Hey, maybe we'll actually talk about Spider-Man a tiny bit more in depth and just he did that thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see Venom at that point. Maybe Craven will hunt somebody. We'll never know. Let's find out.
Maybe Craven is Venom.
He better
or
be by the end of the game.
Craven.
Hunter's been holding on to that theory for months. He'll be devastated if it's not true. He'll be devastated.
I won't be devastated, but imagine if that actually is the final battle.
God,
I just want to say it's a great idea.
That down, Ethan.
He won't let it down. Yeah,
we're never gonna hear the end of it.
Yeah, but it's been Hunter's year. We're just living in it, dude. Like that's
the
thing.
Yeah.
It's just been his year anyway. Like
I feel like it's been Hunter's time ever since he spoke Metroid Dread into existence.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. But hey, yeah. We have a lot to talk about next week, obviously. And then after that, we got a tiny bit of a break, really, which is nice. We can calm down. We'll probably talk about some You know, I think we said we'd probably do some Game Awards predictions after that because we still have time. I think that's what we're going to... I don't remember. We'll do something. But
Oh yeah, where we predict what will be nominated.
yeah. Not our nominations, what we think will be nominated. Spoiler alert, I think these two games will both be nominated for Game of the Year. I think they will. I don't think it's hard to say it. I think the interesting thing about that conversation is what's going to get binned, because there's so much good stuff.
Yeah,
this year,
because
what's
there's
gonna
like
get
2
binned.
locks and then everything else is like up in the air, really.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. Anyway, on to our
Mario's going
screen
to
right
win
now.
the Nintendo award.
Yeah, who will win the Nintendo award? I don't know. Does Zelda count as family? I don't know if Zelda counts as family. Really.
I don't think it's been
No.
nominated previously for that, so no.
Yeah.
It'll go in action adventure.
I think this Mario Wonder will probably win the best family game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said they'll win the Nintendo award.
But don't worry, I'm sure Pikmin or something else will get a nomination, and Pikmin, well, that's the only nomination Pikmin's getting. Fuck you, Pikmin. Fuck you, Pikmin. Go live in the hole of Diablo 4 of games I don't give a shit about. There we go.
Inexplicably, I think I have the same score.
What can I say? I just really, really hate games that have that score, Hunter. What even is that score?
88?
Is it? Well,
Oh, that means he hates Final Fantasy 16.
I mean... I'm kidding.
Hey,
I love Ben Starr. He's great.
one of these three
Anyway.
hosts hates it.
Yeah.
Who's
well,
to say?
Who's to say? Anyway.
Ethan, hurry up and end the episode.
Yeah, that's been our show this week. Thank you ever so much for listening / watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same place for more. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.